but even what he did was very low.
All right.
So to round up, I'm just calling on youths. I've heard that there's some news to occupy INEC and some other things. I don't know how true that is, and I will not encourage violence of any kind. But I'm calling on the youths to actually demand demand answers for what actually happened, demand redress, demand sacks. People need to go. It should not be like what used to happen, where things happen in Nigeria and we just let it slide by. We need fight for our voices to be heard and our votes to count. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. I think that's why a lot of people are clamoring for, because a lot of people are saying there will be a protest. To sorry, can you kindly mute your mic, please? Thank you. There will be a protest, and we'll see how that, how we get on with that if the government would not try to stop it. But let me quickly go back to Bonari. Bonari, any luck? Is Mr. Ikenga on the space? Can you see him?
Okay. I'm chatting with him. The last message I sent, the last message I sent hasn't delivered. I guess he's on a call. Yeah, I've sent him all the links, even to follow you. Yeah. We can continue the discussion once.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So what I would do, are you following each other? Because if I can't see him, I'm gonna make it, because the reason we're having this conversation is for him to tell us more. And it's very important that those that join, understand where we are. So rather than him being somewhere we cannot see him. So I will make you a co-host. That will help, right? Just to see him. I think I've sent you to be a co-host. Can you kindly accept, please? So
okay, I'll accept it. I've also sent you he sent him your own link to your handle so that he can follow you immediately.
all
Let's
right
see.
then.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. So what you can do, you can send him the link to the space, so that will make life a little bit easier for him. But okay, if we're waiting for that to happen, let's quickly go to um Mr. Francis. Good evening, Francis.
Good evening, Mindset. Thank you for the opportunity. I really hope that this space doesn't kick me out. Like it occurs like often. I really hope it doesn't kick me out today. So, talking about the INEC issue, it wasn't surprising to me, Sha, because sometime in May, I was in a space and I was like telling them, see, the biggest problem that we are going to face is not even APC or PDP or even Labour Party. The biggest problem is INEC. And when I was saying it, people were like, how do you know this one, you are being negative, this one? I told them, see, I've been into politics for like 5 years now in Anambra State. And to some extent, I know how these politicians, you see all this noise we're making, it doesn't get to them because they know they already have their way in INEC. So it does, what they normally do is the highest bidder takes the whole thing. And the truth, the funny thing is that the highest authority in the INEC does not know that these things are going on. It's just between local government and ward level. The state itself might even shock you that the state rec members, rec does not even know that this kind of thing is going on. Or even if they know, they don't know the extent. So it's just between the local government and the ward. So to me, it wasn't surprising. I've already prayed. I've always prayed that this kind of thing should be uncovered and people should know what actually is going on behind the scene. Then my advice is, we know that this is Nigeria, and no matter the kind of talk we do on social media, they are not going to do anything unless this is the only country that you not just the only country, right? You must demand it. Like, go to INEC, make sure that you occupy that place. Tell them, see, answer this question: how did this person do this thing? How did these people get access to this? Who released this thing? Like, demand it. Like, see, this thing is deeper than we think. Or when the main details will start coming out, people will start shouting. But let's just keep it at that. Let's just leave it at that.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Francis. Can you kindly mute your mic, please? I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. You see, I have this mindset of I understand how the world works in my own little world, right? And I I respect your opinion, but when someone tells me that when what people are doing on social media does not work, for me, I don't know about you, but for me, I have gotten 99.9% result on social media. All right. Now I will tell you, you said you've been in politics for 5 years. One of the reasons this whole thing came to be, we've got to know about it because it came out on social media, right? If Mr. Ikenga decided to talk about this and give it to the media and Nigerian media, it might not have gotten to where it is. Now, most people saw it and begin to talk about it, begin to tweet about it, begin to tag INEC, right? I will tell you for free, Mr. Francis Okoye was not meant to be the guest today for Sharon. You can go and do your ask people in Channel TV, they will tell you he was not the guest. They have to quickly rebook the other guests. This is not the program they are meant to have today. But because of the power you and I have on social media, that is why we got Mr. Nigerians. I don't want to say managed to get Mr. Francis Okoye to give Nigerians the answers that they are asking for. Yes, the answers is not enough. But let's just have this mindset. Let's not have this mindset that we cannot make a difference on social media. If we understand how powerful social media is, one will use it properly. Now, I understand where you're coming from, that it's good for us to protest. I'm not trying to discourage anyone not to protest, but let's be very mindful that we do not discourage ourselves and say it does not matter. I keep saying this thing. When you tweet something, it might be that nobody liked it. It might be that nobody retweeted it, retweeted what you said. But let me tell you this. There's something I would like you to do. If you tweet something, I think I would go on sorry, what is it called again? I forgot. My brain is everywhere. You take people that have seen what you tweeted. Maybe it might be 5 or 10 people. From that 10 person that sees it, and they will tell someone about it. So it makes a lot of difference. Yes, we can go out and protest, but we must. If social media is not that important, there's nothing that will make this government stop social media. They ban it. And believe you me, let me just give you the answer that you might be asking. You are not. Let me just give you an expo, if you will. There's a lot happening that they might ban social media before the election. They might, if they get their way. They might ban it. All right. But as we are still waiting for Bonari, please, is our guest here. We just want to make sure that a lot of people want to hear from him, not from me. So we just want to make sure. Sorry, sir. Is this here? Is he here?
Okay, I heard he's on the space. I said he should follow you back so that you bring him on, or me. He can follow me back so that I can bring him on. I'm waiting for their response.
All right, that's fine. So if it's not following me or it's not following you, there's no way we can see him. All right. So it's 25 past.
Okay, but I
25.
can actually ask him to request for the mic, right? So
yeah, if you can see him on the space, is he on the space? Because I think I've seen him.
Okay.
I've seen him. Okay, I think I've seen him. I've given him the mic.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Ikenga, I've just sent the mic to you. You have to respond by accepting the mic. I think I've seen him on the space. Let me invite him again. Yes, I've sent him the mic for him to Mr. Ikenga, if you can hear me, yeah, he's still there. He's still somewhere, but I just want to make sure that sorry guys, let me send the mic to him again. Okay, I'll send the mic to him. Let's hope that he would request for the mic. He would accept the request. So let's quickly go to Mr. Effiong. Mr. Effiong, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, my side. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me today. What I have to say is just a short one. I've heard some people holding brief for INEC, but I beg to differ, and the reason is simple. Earlier this year, or maybe middle part of this year, we had, or it was stated, and it was a statement of fact that INEC, that is the leadership of INEC, we deployed Mr. Nwafo, who was the brain behind this BVAS technology, and made him an administrator in Enugu State. And no explanation whatsoever was given to that effect. And despite the clamor by the general public for that decision to be rescinded, nothing has been done towards that. And if INEC, the leadership of INEC is not in cahoots with the government or with the powers that be, I don't think such a change will have been made at this critical point in time. I don't think that, so I think the leadership of INEC has something fishy under their sleeves, which they are trying to do. And they're already showing us with this, with what is playing out now. So I believe INEC is compromised. That is what I believe. And they have to do so much to convince the public that they are not. And that's we will start seeing in the coming days. But for now, nothing anyone will say to me to convince me that INEC is not compromised. That is my opinion. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Effiong. So I'm pleased to say that we succeeded in bringing Mr. Ikenga. He's a speaker now. Mr. Ikenga, good evening, sir. Can you hear me? Mr. Ikenga, all right. Ikenga Imo, if you can hear me, your mic is mute.
Are you hearing me now?
Oh, I can hear you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Oh, pleased to have you on the space.
Thank you so much. I think this is my face-to-face interaction, so I'm learning.
I can tell because I think we struggle a little bit, but at least there's always a first time for everything. Thank you for making out the time. I know it was an impromptu invitation, but you just made out the time. I know you're quite busy with what is going on. Mr. Ikenga is a Nigeria Opposition Coalition, CUPP, and spokesperson, and is a human rights activist and a constitutional lawyer. So, Mr. Ikenga, we're just going to dive into the conversation without wasting your time or the time of Nigerians who have been looking forward to hearing from you. It takes a brave person to do what you did yesterday. Knowing the kind of country we are, knowing the oppositions we are fighting, knowing what is at stake in 2023. Actually, you know what? Let me just allow you to introduce yourself to the people. Then I'll go into the conversation, if that's okay with you, sir.
Okay, my name is Ikenga Ugochinyere. I speak for the CUPP, the Coalition of United Political Parties, but I'm also the candidate of People's Democratic Party for either North and South federal constituency for the House of Rep seats.
All right, thank you very much. So let's quickly go into the conversation now. We've seen the videos, we've seen the evidence. I don't know how you got those evidence, so we would like to know more. What prompts you? How did you manage to, risk your life to go this deep to bring out this evidence? Knowing the kind of country we are.
Okay, first of all, if you watch for the last 10 years, I've been involved in activism of this nature. So, and that is why you see, I almost have spent like 5 different times in detention under this president because of issues like this. And you remember when they wanted to remove the CJN, when I alerted Nigeria that the Code of Conduct Tribunal will issue an order that the CJN should step aside. But Nigerians, they felt I was raising false alarm. How can a Code of Conduct remove the Supreme Court Chief Justice of the Federation? I even went further to obtain a court order in the event that he's forced to step down, that Tanko should not be sworn in. People ignored it, and at the end of the day, the same thing happened, and the same Tanko came and messed up the entire Supreme Court, only to be forced out to go. Now, this same method, most times, as you are aware, people volunteer this information to us because of our track record. At times, we go on looking for it. But of course, you should know that there's risk associated with it. I know the risk that is involved in all that I did yesterday. I prayed over it and I said, I will not even call a press conference. I will make a live broadcast. There was a reason for live broadcast, because if I call a press conference, they can try to, source some media houses not to report it the way Nigerians deserve to hear it. That's why I took 1 hour to open those pages before everybody, so nobody can cover it. I know the privacy issues and so on and so forth. But let me be honest with you. We can't have a country that we have suffered so much expected so much in terms of electoral reform. You know how hard everybody fought for us to get the last electoral act signed. And then you can see the kind of enthusiasm that young Nigerians are showing of their readiness to involve in the political process. Now, when I got that intelligence and information, if I've kept it to myself because I'm scared or tried to, mess it up, then if young people do not have value for their vote in 2023, this country may slide into civil war, or this country the young people may lose hope completely of voting in the electoral process. So when we got the intelligence, I didn't believe it in the first place because I didn't believe that it can get to a point where somebody can have access to upload fake, adulterated, and criminally generated data into the central server. So when I got the information, what we now did first, we now said, okay, let's take Imo, which is closer to us because the data is very big to review. So we started printing them out. We spent almost 1.something million printing all those registers out. So we started going through it. But something told me to go to Amoma, knowing the history of the Imo governor, as has to do from the way he got his judgment from the Supreme Court, that if this thing happened in 18 states and Imo is among it, then the first place to check should be Amoma. So that was when we opened Amoma with our team. We didn't even get to 5 pages. Before I started seeing Clinton Dion, Johnson Mega, we started seeing names that does not come from Amoma, which is a remote village in Olo. And if you see what these people did, is that they lifted the data from a foreign database. They couldn't even have the time to remove the male gender or the female gender. You will see like 1,000 registration with female picture and the gender will be male. You see like 2,000 registration with male picture, the gender will be female. You see a woman that is, a great grandmother and the date of birth is 2000, 2002, 1999, and so on and so forth. Then when I started seeing that even the pictures that were used, because I was there when they were doing this continuous voters registration, we took some of our people to the registration center. My brother will spend hours at those registration centers just to be captured. They will tell you there's no network. They will tell you there's this one. So there was no way they were using passport or doing capturing with brochure. We have to wait for them to capture. And I know how the machine captures. So when I now started seeing pictures that were cut out, like frame from burial brochures, from calendar, from different types of elements. The picture were cut out from different types of things, and the pictures were uploaded into the database. I knew there was a problem. That's when I started checking the whole of Amoma. We started checking the total number there, nearing 46,000. We checked Amiri, the same thing. We now went down to Ida Tosat. In Ida Tosat's own is so shameful. There was a particular plane, it is one of the new planes, they call it Amumebe Manu Mall in Ida Tosat. The entire registration from number 1 to the last person, they did it with passport photo, brochures and calendars and change of name pictures of magazine. That is what they captured and generated fake name completely for those ones. Same thing they did in part of Ikenesi, part of Mbano, part of Nkwere, part of Uguta. That was when I now believed intelligence that selected words and pulling in it have had their data as compromised and fake registration uploaded. We petitioned INEC, wrote to INEC. Yes, INEC started the cleaning process, and I must give that to the INEC chairman. But I felt there is a duty I owe the public. In as much as INEC has started the internal cleaning process, if Nigerians does not know that this kind of thing can still be possible and that somebody can do it, then they may run into a risk where the bigger plot, which is the compromise accreditation, will hit us in 2023, and there's going to be confusion all over Nigeria. I felt that despite the fact that INEC has even cleaned up almost 1 million of double registration on some of these data, that it was not enough. People need to answer for their crime, because let me tell you the problem of this. Those who release their passcode and their password or email address for these criminals to sign into the Beaver machine or sign into the back-end data of the commission storage and upload this generated information in this magnitude also have the capacity to upload pre-accredited fingerprints into the device on the election day, which is, and I took time to find out from the insiders who gave us the information when I started uncover that this is true. And I said, okay, let me know how this will work. The first stage is to upload this fake registration into the server and have close to whichever amount of number you want to have. Then the second one is the recruitment of ad hoc staff. You now recruit ad hoc staffs that is going to work in those specific polling units and wards. Remember, this is not done in the general state. They choose the particular ward they want to strike. They choose the particular polling. That's why people don't know. So on that day of election, they want to also influence ad hoc staffs that will be recruited and posted to those specific polling units. So that once they arrive, they carry the entire materials, they upload the accreditation, and then they post the figures. So we'll be here voting and shouting whether obedient or articulated or whatever. You'll be there suffering and voting. Only for around 5-6 p.m. you start hearing boom, 35,000. 20,000. That will mess up what Nigerians have been working hard and sabotage our people's quest for good governance. And that is why I now find out that the last stage of the plot is that the same people who uploaded this sentence will also upload pre-accredited numbers into the what they call it, the server, thereby showing that accreditation actually happened in those new polling units, when in actual sense it did not happen, and those voters there are fake, and then they can turn in the figure. It might not be successful in every location because citizens' vigilance is also very important. Citizens can start monitoring their materials from CBN to INEC, and if you don't bring the beavers for those new polling, they will start shouting. But some areas like that, Omuma, that you know that there's insecurity because the activities of unknown gunmen, INEC office have been raised down. How are you going to police Omuma? So somebody can stay in one house in Omuma or any location and upload the entire 46 polling units that was created in that location. I felt, not just because I'm running an election, after all, I was not much affected, but I felt I owe a duty to the Nigerian society that having been given this kind of intelligence, let me bring it to the public. If the Nigerian people want to fight it, fine and good. If they want to leave it, fine and good. And that will also make INEC, which is already cleaning it, to understand that there's also urgent need for public disciplinary actions against those who sabotage the effort of the commission in using these electronic devices for the election. And I also use the opportunity to inform the public that the beavers one is one option. We're already aware of the case in court to ensure that the beavers is not used, because they're saying there's no telecommunication spread in different parts of the country, because they're targeting Katsina, Yobe, Boronu, Niger State, part of Imo, part of Anambra, where they said telecommunication network have been knocked off as a result of activities of bandits and terrorist organizations. But all these are cock and bull story to pave way for manual accreditation. And if we go to this election with manual accreditation, everything will be destroyed. And that is why I said the focus on my alert is that two things is important. One, no beavers, no election in Nigeria. Beavers must be used in 36 states of Nigeria, 100%. Secondly, that you cannot remove the INEC chairman unless you go through the provisions of the Constitution, because of the information we also gathered, which includes a legal action to stop him from acting as chairman of the commission, to bring in a new person. That means that the whole essence of this attack is on the electronic and digitalization of the 2023 election. So if all of us must insist and agree that use of this electronic device must be something that is not negotiable at all. It is the fundamental for 2023 general election, and the devices must be applied to every part of the country, and the commission have a duty to reassure voters that the devices they are going to use is safe, starting with how they discipline those who undermined the commission's voters registration exercise that have just been concluded. That once they do that, then they would have reassured Nigerians that there's still confidence in the process. But if you don't publicly show us what you did about those who did that, if you do only cleansing, I don't think Nigerians will be comfortable, because they want to see consequences meted out to those who formed this criminal gang and had access to this server. Because if we don't deal with them and the magnitude of what they are planning, then we don't know what we're going to face in 2023.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ikenga. So there will be a time for people to ask you questions. But I don't know if you saw the interview, Mr. Festus Okoye, the spokesperson for INEC. He said they are aware of what is going on because they are actually doing cleaning, right? They're cleaning their servers and everything, and that it's not possible for those things that we saw with our, with our old crow eye, if I will borrow that word, that those things are not possible, and no one would take, anyone that takes INEC to court would lose, because the law would not allow such. Now we need to find a solution. We've seen this whole thing. I mean, it's everywhere, right? Everyone knows What do you think as Nigerians? What can we do right now to stop this happening? What is your suggestion?
First, you people are even doing more than I expected, because I made this revelation less than 20 hours ago, and then everybody on Twitter, everywhere went on fire, which caught their attention in the right way, which is the first important thing, that these have been exposed and everybody in Nigeria have heard about it, including the European Union. I even left some ambassadors of the European Union who wanted me to brief them on the extent of what happened. So everybody is fully aware. So now what we should be demanding, which is what people are doing, is INEC not just cleaning the process, must also show us what they did to those who were involved in the compromise. Because yes, they pasted the first voter register. This is not the final one. But are they expecting us, having seen this, to keep quiet and wait for the cleaning process that we don't know what is the content or what is being cleaned? Is it not in the interest of everybody that this was brought to the attention of everyone, so that when you are cleaning, you do extra cleaning to be sure that these ones that are not double registration, which are outright forgeries, are completely deleted, and you recall back all your voter register in the 36 states to still check them whether there are this anomaly in all the 36 states. But coming to what we can do is very simple. For this thing to work on election day, first, you saw the way the first one happened in Ngokbala. They waited for accreditation to finish. That was 48 hours after Buhari signed the Electoral Act. The governor of Imo went to election in Ngokbala. They waited for accreditation to finish around 12:01, and then they deployed the police and the DSS and the army. They started raiding all the polling units, carrying the ballot, carrying the beavers, carrying the INEC staffs. Now, what's the best way? The best way is that you people need to encourage people. When they finish voting, they stay behind in the polling, because most times when you have 100 people in the polling unit, it is not going to be easy for you to raid the entire polling unit. That is another way you have to deal with the one they will do after accreditation. Because why they do that one, once you finish putting your fingerprint, they raid there around 12:01, use the same fingerprint you have put into the machine to, even if it is 20 that was accredited, they will write 20/0 for the candidate they want. But that one is not enough for them, because the rigging will be limited to that 20. Now they have advanced it to this level where they want to do total upload. To avoid it is one. If it's election day, the citizens through the party agents and other people will follow the material, whether from central bank that they do it or from INEC office, to the distribution center. Before they distribute, citizens should demand to ensure that the card readers for the entire temple unit of that area that is about to be distributed is complete. Because for them to do this, they need to take the card readers of those areas away so that they can carry the INEC staff to a secret location where they will preload and then accredit. Now, if we follow it to the collection, to the election point, we check query the card reader to be sure there's no preloaded accreditation inside the card reader before we start voting. And once they finish voting, we ensure that they transmit the already voted result in our presence. You will see them send. You must press the send button. Like in Ngokbala when I was there. One of the staffs, she said there was network problem, she cannot do this, that she needs to go to the office, and we said no. We looked at the device, we saw the bars of the network there. There was network. We insisted that she will not leave until she sends it. We have to force her for her to snap it and then send it. 30 minutes after sending it, the talks raided the place, but there was nothing to carry because the results have been transmitted. So if our people will be vigilant, starting from distribution of the card to the voting point, and ensure that the result is transmitted before we allow them to move or even follow them to the next location. Because for them to do this, they must move the candidate to a secret location, or the candidate will not come at all. That is when they can upload this pre-accredited fingerprints into the beavers as accredited figures. But assuming they don't do that, they will repeat the Ngokbala method, which is wait for accreditation to end around 12:01, raid the polling units, carry the beavers machine, bring out the total number already accredited, and write the result, to say it's 20/0 and transmit. I believe that 40-50% effort, if put in by the citizens, can bust them, and they will not be able to do this on election day.
All right, thank you very much. So what I will do, I'm just going to allow those who are on the platform who want to ask questions. Let's quickly go to Mr. Josie Ibe. Please go ahead with your question to Mr. Ikenga.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Ikenga, thank you. I'm really grateful for what you did. I've been watching you many times. I saw your boldness, staying in that place and be doing that is not really even. I watched even today. I was just going through even the court judgment and so on. So for me, I won't call mine as maybe a question. because I see everything you just did. I'm from Imo State. I'm from Olo. I know Hope Uzodinma more than even because it's close to Omuma. Omuma is close to my place. I'm from Okwodo. So I'm close to there. So nobody can tell me about it.
Okay, so you know the place and know the situation there. There's nobody. People have run out because of ESN.
I'm from Okwodo. So you know where Okwodo is. So I know Hope more than you. Just close to my house. I can walk straight to that place. So the problem now is because we are just talking about implementations, right? And implementation is on the election day, right? Going to the election, people trying to. But now, how do we mitigate this thing? So the first thing is INEC is aware. If anybody tells me that INEC is not aware, I will say it's a lie. Even that man may be aware of it. They just put him in that suit for you guys to, to do as if maybe because, just his body language speaks a lot, even in the past election, right? So nobody can tell me that. Then what do we do? For me, as a person, I would say that when I hear that INEC is saying that they clean the system, it's just so laughable to me. As someone who understands technology, it's so shameful, it's so laughable, where you have a lot of professionals in Nigeria who understand the system, who knows these things we are talking about. So what is the solution here? There must be a third-party auditing. INEC don't have any right to audit the system or clean the system. Then where there was no quality gate put in place. How do they check all the whole data? How do they check all the systems? How? There was no quality gate. So who did it? So when you're telling me now that INEC is doing cleaning, who is doing it? Why will it be INEC doing it? There must be a third party doing it. And this third party, all the whole political parties need to be aware of it. It needs to be clear. And what they are doing needs to be clear with everybody. And this portal will be a portal where will be visible, where people can be able to see the names of people, right? But you cannot be able, maybe some of their data will not be maybe because of data protection and so on. But if anybody tell me that INEC is not working with APC, I said it's a lie. INEC knows about it. The INEC chairman knows about it. All of them knows about it. So it is not only in Imo State, it's in all these states. But most of their targets, they want to use like Borno, all these places where they say there's Boko Haram. Like I was like staying here where I'm encouraging most of my brothers to go and vote or to go and get their, their voters card. But they were telling me that in Imo State, like places like Olu, Okwodo, Njaba, all these places, even where that Hope, you know that the polling unit there is burnt. There's no polling unit there in Hope's local government. As I'm talking, there's nothing like that. So where did they get all these numbers? So all these places, nobody was able to register. Okay, so the same thing they will be doing in other places. So the only solution here is a third-party auditing.
All right,
not from Nigerian firms, but from foreign firms. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So moving forward, before I bring another speaker, Mr. Ikenga, I have a question for you. Now, all the things you say we can do that on the election day, but just holding INEC responsible, being a lawyer, you're a lawyer. So can anyone sue INEC by what you've uncovered they've done? Is there any legal step one can take and say, you shouldn't have allowed this to happen? Can Nigerians do that?
Well, because what they have done has a constitutional backing that said after continuous voters registration exercise or whatever type of registration you call it, the commission will publish the first raw data for people to make claims and objection. That means the constitution recognizes there might be possibility of human error or mistakes or fake registration. That once those data of complaints are collected, then the commission will clean that process and then publish the final register. So I think if one wants to sue successfully, maybe if this is repeated in the final voter register, the general, because what they publish now is the continuous voter registration exercise, the one that we just ended some weeks ago. But the entire register of voters in the country will be pasted again before the election. I think if there's error in that one, that is the one you can now fully use to establish your case of a compromised register. But this one is just like somebody, publishing something for you to make objection. Are you getting me? Then if there's an objection, then you correct it. So that's why you can see in their statement, they are trying to say they are aware of these objections, they are cleaning it, and they're going to clean everything and to be clean and blah, 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 and all that.
Okay, that's good. At least we are getting the clear picture. So what the evidence that you have is something INEC can actually work on and make it better before the election, right?
Before the final one. And I can bet you, because these have been dropped in public domain, there is no way those areas that were compromised heavily can find their way in the final publication, because they know that all of us know that we're going to check it if we publish it this time around.
All right, thank you very much. So let's quickly go to Mr. Activist Law. Please quickly go ahead with your question to Mr. Ikenga.
Mr. Ikenga, good evening. Good evening, mindset. Okay, sir, I want to ask, when the number, if for instance now there are a creating number of people that are voting in a particular polling unit, and it is recorded not on the register per se, but the number of people that are created by the beavers. Now, is it possible for you to have overvoting if the number of people that are registered in the beavers will transmit directly to the INEC server? Is there any possibility for them to have a way of rigging election?
Yeah, first of all, be rest assured that they will not do overvoting, because they know with the new electoral act that overvoting voids the entire vote. So what they want to do, they didn't take all the polling units. They specifically marked area where they want to do this Omoma magic. So they already know maybe it's polling in 001, 02, 04. So in choosing the ad hoc staff, be rest assured that they will make sure that the ad hoc staff that will go to those 001, 002 that they want to use to do this are people they handpick as either party member or whatever. So two things will happen. Either you don't get to see the beavers in that location, or you may even have a beaver that may transmit to a separate location, because the informant told us that they're also working on sending a beaver to that location that is still going to be used on the election day. It will transmit the result, but what you ask yourself, which location is it sending the result? That means they are still with the original beavers for that particular polling unit. And if the rumor that we have, that they have found a way to be able to upload preloaded accreditation, that means they will sit with those INEC staff at the end of the day, preload the accreditation, let's say 100, and then write 100 votes, and then transmit, and that will be genuine. You cannot fault it. So that is why I said solving this problem starts with cleaning the register, because if those names are removed from the register, they will not have these extra numbers with which they want to make a polling unit so super that a ward can return 46,000 like you have in Omuma now. So if you remove all those nonsense from the polling unit, everything returns back to how it used to be. And if the citizens insist, like I said before, in seeing what the other people is doing, in seeing the distribution of material and following it to their polling unit, it will help to avoid diversion. And we must also devise a kind of citizen security task force, because they're going to shoot gun in some polling units for them to be able to perfect this. There must be a way citizens can be made to form a kind of task force. They don't need to be armed, but once people are at each of those polling units in large numbers, even if you snatch those ballot, card readers or beavers, the kind of noise and tweeting and videos people will bring out will make those areas to be cancelled. But the first thing is to clean the register. And not only cleaning the register, those who were able to do this, it doesn't matter that this was a primary register that is subject to being cleaned, but anybody who has the capacity to upload people that were born in 1917, 1900, 1956 and Italians into the register might also have the capacity to upload the accredited fingerprints into the device. That is why we must deal with them, deploy them, punish them, so that those people they want to recruit afresh will be scared, knowing what happened to those who were involved in the compromised registration.
All right, thank you very much. Let's really go to Mr. Umar Sani. Mr. Umar, after you, then I'll go to Henry. Your question, please.
Hello, I welcome Mr. Ikenga Ugochinyere to this platform. And let me say that your explanations are very lucid, and very tacit, and we have learned quite a lot. My question is, in the north here, there is a new system that the APC is using. I don't know how it will affect the electoral process. One, they have been buying PVC cards from ordinary Nigerians at the sum of 5,000 naira, and they are withholding the PVCs, and we wonder whether those PVCs, when they are procured, whether they can be used, or is it a strategy to, to reduce the number of where they have problems. They buy those ones that they feel will not vote for them, and keep it, and allow those ones that will vote for them to vote for them. So we don't know the strategy, but I'm sure that with your experience, exposure, and your ability, your your electoral ability, you have been exposing so many of these things, not only anything to do with INEC, but anything even to do with the legal implications. What do you think is the reason? Number two, what is the essence of going to court to go and try to institute an action secretly with the aim of discrediting the technology? Is it because they are afraid that within technology they will lose election, or is it because the technology itself has not been properly couched in the language in the Electoral Act that the courts can look at it and throw it away and say it is against the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? These are my questions, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Let me start with the ones that are buying the cards. Some people still believe, especially in some parts of the north, that the use of the beavers might not be holistic. Their room might still be given for manual accreditation. But what they don't understand that the new Electoral Act has completely deleted all those provisions on incident form. So once INEC deploys the electronic accreditation system, there's no other way you can vote. And then there are people who are buying in some locations. If they feel they will not get vote, then it's better you buy the card, the voter's card, and throw it away so that those people does not vote. So whatever is driving the reason that people are buying the card, it goes because if you buy the card, you cannot accredit with somebody's card if the machine is used. So it's either you still hope that we do manual accreditation, in which case we bring the people out and then use their card, or you're going to throw the card. But whichever way, none of these options is good for our electoral process. Then going to the issue of the court process. If you look at that court process, the argument is making is that there is no telecommunication spread in parts of the country. And we have gotten intelligence before that this national, that this agency, NITDA, what they call it, that works with NCC on this, our telecommunication infrastructure, that there is a communication problems in places like Katsina, in Borno, in Yobe, in Zamfara, in Niger, where they say that the bandits and the terrorist group have blown up the mast. So therefore, you using full electronic accreditation and the transmission of results might not work. So therefore, the communication framework of the country is not well prepared for holistic application of electronic transmission. And INEC have cleared to say no, with or without that our device have the capacity to transmit. Either they are saying it uses satellite or something. So the commission is saying that they can still transmit whether there is mast there or not. So whosoever that is behind the legal action is possibly now looking for a way where the court will say, yes, because of this lack of communication infrastructure spread across the country, that do not use the beavers in certain areas, in which case the commission will not be banned by a court action to do selected application of the beavers machine. But with the way this matter have gone, I don't think there's any reasonable judge in today's Nigeria with what is going on now that will even touch that case with any right or left hand.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ikenga. Just to ask you a question. Okay, let me quickly bring on Mr. Henry Shield. Then I'll ask you a question on the court case. Henry, please go ahead. Sorry, Henry, can you hear me? Am I audible? Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, you're audible.
I'm hearing you.
Okay, Henry, if you can hear me, please can you kindly unmute your mic? It appears you're here, but you're not responding. All right, so as we're waiting for Henry to come back, I've seen an article this afternoon about the court case where the lawyer, if you will, who actually stamp was used for this court case, came out to say that it was not him that actually filed this case. There was a lady that filed the case, but the lady used his stamp. So what is your take on it right now? So does it mean that this case can be thrown out, or where does the law stand on this?
No, without being told, the case is dead. What do I mean by that? Is it because of the alarm? Everybody in the country is mad. So what do you expect? So everybody's running away. Even in the commission, I've been told some of the junior staffs who in one way or the other was part of this conspiracy, everybody's panicking and running. Everybody's denying that they're not part of it. So if the other lawyer is claiming that she was not aware, the point remains that there's already a problem, which goes to the financial that everybody have accepted that this is immoral, this cannot work, this is something nobody wants to be associated with. And if everybody's running away from it, how is it going to work in the court? So there's even no judge in public interest. Having had these stories all over every part of the country, there is no reasonable judge that wants his name to be associated with this. So it is this deniers and counter deniers is also good for all of us. It means that in the paradise of the bad people, there is commotion.
All right, thank you very much. So let's quickly go to Mr. Tanko. Mr. Tanko, please go ahead with your question.
Okay, yeah. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, I saw the, if I watched it, when he was doing the presentation about, the inconsistency of the voters register, with some, what do you call it, some, in the register where some names were allocated to female, while some females' names are allocated to male, while some have some kind of ridiculous ages and whatever. So, and what captured my attention at that moment was the fact that he stated during the presentation that the national chairman of the INEC, is still, they trust him that he has no any information on that irregularity, because they have already confirmed that the INEC has cleaned up the voters register. My question now on this matter is this. Now we have heard that a lot of people are trying now to run away from the case. Even the lawyer that is said to have filed the case now is saying that he's not the one that filed the case. Now, how sure are we? How sure are we it is the people that we are now thinking that they are the one that filed the case are the ones that filed the case? You remember, some times ago, we saw a news that came out and said Wike has filed, allegation, a case against Atiku Abubakar and the PDP and the INEC. And then after like a day, Wike came out and denied, filing the case. Is it not probably maybe it's a PDP or Labour Party that is doing this now to discredit APC, saying that we are now the one that are pushing this now to remove the bypass from the electoral process? Because since everybody now is denying it, is there any way? Is there any kind of investigation that anybody has made that confirmed that this case was filed by Opuzodinma? Because that was how it appears that people from Imo State are the one that filed this case. That's my question.
Well, in everything, you look at the positive side, and the positive side here is that before we even talk about the case, we have a big issue of an act that have already been committed, which threaten the whole essence of the accreditation process and messes up the possibility of the people's recanting. Now, if we dwell on that, one should be left for security agencies. The lawyers are there, the ones that are denied they didn't file, the ones that they say somebody used their documents to file, all those things are there. But the key issue here that everybody is very sensitive to is that do not touch the beavers, do not have people who are not Nigerians or human beings into the voter register. I think we'll focus on why we leave the security agencies to deal with that aspect will hold on to the commission's assurance that they're cleaning the register and find a way to be sure that the register is thoroughly cleaned and other issues. Because if we continue to do like this Wike example you gave, Wike say he did not file the suit, but at the end of the day, the suit is still in court going on. So if we focus on who filed and who did not file, Atiku should go and defend himself to avoid his mandate being taken away. Because if you continue to dwell on whether it was Wike or another person that filed it, you may be on that argument and then the case goes against you. The key thing is that Nigerians have said with one voice, any funny thing around the stoppage of the use of beavers will not be acceptable. Whether it's Labour Party or PDP or APC is immaterial. The point is everybody's saying this joke, let nobody play this joke. So it is in our interest that nobody goes there. And it is also in our interest that those fake registrations that find their way into the national register is deleted, and those who gave out their passcode for those registrations to have happened in the first place, disciplined and used to serve as raw example to other people who may work as ad hoc staff to know that if you get involved in this kind of electoral fraud, there will be consequences.
All right. Before I bring up Mr. Henry, I don't know if you're available to speak. Henry, are you there? All right. It appears he cannot hear me. But before I bring up Mr. Henry, I have a question for you because before now we have the Anambra State election, then we had the Ekiti election, then we had the Osun election, where everybody, not everybody, but let's say 70% of Nigerians actually praised INEC, saying that they did a great job. Now, but after that, it appears something happened within INEC because we started hearing rumors, if you will, or news that the commission have started to change the people who manage those elections and begin to post them in other places, i.e., why change something that is working? Can you shed more light into what happened after a soon election?
Most times I like to dwell on when I have strong intelligence. I have been trying to find out what is the reasons for some of the recent deployment that you're talking about. I have not gotten tangible evidence because I'm trying to speak to one of the key people that were deployed. So if you can give me an information on possibly maybe something that we're not aware transpired. So right now, I don't even know what is the reason for the movement they are making. I don't know. So I will not be able to comment on what I do not know.
All right, thank you very much. So let's quickly bring on Mr. Prince. Prince, please go ahead with your question.
Good evening, Mindset. Can everybody hear me?
We can hear you. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay, good evening, Mindset. Good evening, everyone. So I just want to make some comment and also ask a question. The first question is it possible for Mr. Ikenga or the CUPP as a whole to be able to press further so that the people responsible for this are not given a clean slate, like because one of the issues we've been having in the country is there's usually no consequences for bad behavior. Then number two, I think you mentioned that in Opus or Dimas local government, it was about 64,000. Yeah, so I did my rough calculation, 64,000 multiplied by 36 states. So let's even assume that it's just per ward, not even local government. So you already have a minimum of about 2.3 million voters already that would have been smuggled into the system. So I think this election is more about the people versus INEC on the long run. And I really don't know why the other parties like the Labour Party, PDP, I don't really know why they are not really on much, like shining the torchlight more. So like I said, going forward, this election is about the people versus INEC. Thank
you. Thank you. What you said is right, but I think it's about 46,000 or so. But the point that the country has over 2,000 and something wards. So if a country has 2,000 and something wards and over 150,000 people in it, if somebody targets 100 wards as of 2,000, spreading it across the 36 states, you may not notice. And just like you said, if you upload 30,000 from 100 locations out of the 2,000, you will not know, but the impact is going to be felt by 6 p.m. when the results start coming in. And because this election is strictly by beavers, there will not be outrageous figures. So if you are winning somebody like what happened in Kogi, they were winning a gala with 2,000, 3,000 votes. But immediately Yahya Bello them dropped those votes from Okene, where you have 90,000 or something. It completely changed the equation of that election. So that is what unaccredited figures can do to an election. It will change everything completely. So that is why vigilance is the word, to ensure that these things are cleaned from the voter register, and that when the final publication is made, that all of us should spread message across to everybody. Please go and check the final register that have been pasted, so that we'll be sure that strange names are not in your locality.
All right. So before I bring on the next speaker, let me ask you a question. Quite a number of people have actually contacted me and saying that they are asking INEC, because I keep telling people to go and pick up their PVCs, but they say INEC are not giving out the PVCs. I mean, can you shed more light why INEC have not been giving people out their PVCs?
Most people that are complaining are most of the new registrants. And the card printing, they said, will be ready by, I think, October ending or November. I don't know the date, but is it that next month or something, then they will start releasing these ones that people rush to do. So most of those people, their cards are not ready. The cards that are ready, that are there, are those old registrations and those continuous register that people did at the LUGA level that particular time that are ready. But these new ones that people rush to do, from the release of INEC, I saw yesterday, I think they say next month, ending or thereabout, they are going to, it's contained in that release they issued on Monday that they are cleaning the register, which they said the cleaning will not affect their timeline for releasing the new PVCs around that October or thereabout. So these other ones that they are own are there, still in those local government area. But most of the problem people have at times when they register, when they want to go and pick their card, either they're going to different locations or they don't know where they actually registered and so on and so forth. But people who have their cards ready are getting it if they go to their local government office. Some of our supporters will take them to the local government headquarters. Once they check that their card have been printed, they go there and they get their card. But most people that will take to that place will only get there and discover that it is people that just registered this recent one, and they'll just be suffering us to go back and forth that they have not been given their card. So I don't know what is the reason for the other people, and I can't speak for that.
All right, thank you very much. So to those who have been asking for their PVC, so Mr. Ikenga is saying by October, hopefully, you might be able to get your...
If you go and read the Monday release of INEC, is in that their statement that this cleaning process will not affect the timeline for releasing the card, which is next month.
All right, thank you very much. So let's quickly go to Bonario. Do you have a question for Mr. Ikenga?
No, I don't have any question. He has actually elaborated on what I said yesterday. You get, like I said, like they always say, the price for freedom is eternal vigilance. And my people in Idato, we know what we've passed through. This time around, we've learned from our mistakes, and we're not taking any chances. That is why you saw that this particular incident was busted from Idato. We know what we've passed through. As Nigerians, we all know what we've been passing through, seeking good governance. So what we owe ourselves, the duties we owe ourselves, is to be vigilant. Let's try to stay 2 steps ahead of these people. They will come together to machine. To cook up their machinations, but if we stay vigilant, stay ahead of them, we'll always bust them. They're not that smart. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Before I ask the next question, let's quickly go to Dr. Dasuki. Doctor, good evening. Your question to Mr. Ikenga.
Oh no, I guess Mr. Ikenga has clarified what I wanted to contribute on, which was, as he said, this is a continuous registration processes, and as usual, there's a large amount of data that INEC is receiving. So I think it's only normal to have data quality issues. And then, like INEC has already said, that they are cleaning the data. And then let's get to the final stage where the final registration is going to be published. And then from there, people can start to complain whether INEC has been compromised or not. But for now, it's just normal. As long as you're dealing with a large chunk of data, there are always data quality issues. It's everywhere. And I'm sure the people that are here that have studied computer science, they are aware of the whole idea of data science, the whole idea of data cleansing when you're dealing with a large data warehouse. So I think we should first get to that stage before we start saying INEC has been compromised or INEC hasn't been compromised. And just like you said, Dr. Mindset, even though I saw your tweet where you said it seems INEC and the courts are being compromised. But again, if you look at it from the other angle, why is it we don't give credit to INEC? When the opposition wins election, we say INEC is doing okay. But as long as it doesn't favor the opposition or INEC is trying to do something, they say they are being compromised. And I want to now move to the area of beavers as well. Where whatever will happen, we need to understand that Nigeria as a country is in the global south. As long as whether we like it or not, technology fails. Technology even fails in what's saner climate. Technology is never 100%. One reason why technology always fails, again, we've said it here, human errors. A human being is not a computer. There is always going to be discrepancies. But I want to even move on from human error to what infrastructural issues. We already know that in the whole of Africa, we have infrastructural issues. So what happens? Are we saying that on the day of INEC elections and we have issues with bandwidth or internet connectivity in some particular areas, then it means election wouldn't hold on that day because there is no internet connectivity? There has to be an alternative, which is going to be manual accreditation. So these are stuff that we need to be we need to be realistic based on the context there. But Mr. Ikenga can explain further, but I think it's too early for us to just, not Mr. Ikenga, but for some of the commentators to just say that INEC has been compromised or INEC is, let's just wait and let them do the data cleansing. And even if we get to the final stage, let it even be out there that no matter how much INEC cleans that database, there is still going to be data quality issues. You cannot achieve 100% clean data in a large chunk of data out there. So that's just my contribution to it, and that's just the reality we're going to deal with.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doc. I think I agree with you to some extent. First of all, I know the way Nigerians, reacted is understandable because our people have been through a lot. So once they see something that has to do with raises question on credibility of a process, they get so scared and they go to the extreme. That is understandable. It's because of the way our leaders have handled us in the past. But if you listen to me clearly when I was speaking, I first of all commended the commission for the cleaning exercise they started. The point I was trying to make is that even though they're doing the cleaning exercise, they're trying to get it right for us. It's also important in case if they don't know the depth of the discrepancies we notice. I don't think there was anything wrong in the information that we passed out, just that because our people have gone through a lot and they don't trust, our people don't trust the leaders. That is why they went to this to say, oh, everything has collapsed. Oh, INEC has been compromised. I think even the INEC chairman is the victim here, and people don't understand when I say that. When I say the INEC chairman is the victim, when I'm saying that here is a man that have insisted on strict application of the technology. He's not a saint, but he's insisting that this technology must be used. And here we have a group of people from different political parties trying to ping-pong, trying to undermine, to say why that technology should not be used 100%. So at this particular moment, as long as the chairman is insisting that this technology must be used, the voter register must be cleaned up, I think at this moment we should not go outrightly condemning the commission to say they have done bad, but help the commission to ensure that their staffs who were used or work with those politicians to undermine this registration in some states are fished out and then dealt with so that it will serve as an example to other people. And also to let the commission know that extra vigilance is required and that Nigerians will not take anything less than having a free, fair, and credible election. So I understand that the extreme comments that have been all over the social medias are by Nigerians who are so worried whether this thing is going to, take away their hope and expectation of voting the kind of leaders they want. But at this stage, we'll give the commission the benefit of the doubt. Let's wait and see the cleaning process. But at least they have known that the Nigerian people are also aware. And I strongly believe that when the final register comes out, all these fears that have been expressed will be taken care of by the commission leadership.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ikenga, and thank you, Doc. Now, let me try to refresh your memory, Doc. If you followed my handle of picture, I think you've been following for over a year now. I'm one of those people that say what I believe in. Now, it would be very wrong for one to say that INEC has not done well in the last 3 elections. I actually said it on this platform a few minutes ago. I said, if we look at what happened in Anambra State, Ekiti State, Osun State, so one would give INEC the credit, right? Now, what we are saying is this: if nobody in their right mind would see such glaring evidence that Mr. Ikenga, brought out yesterday, and should not be worried for this country called Nigeria. Now, I in saying that, a lot of people, and if we fold our hands and say, okay, let's throw it underneath the carpet like we always do things, INEC would not respond. We are very happy that INEC have responded. But what Nigerians need at this point in time is for INEC to do what is right. And what is that we are asking for? Those people who planned, who conspired, it might be INEC staffs. They have questions to answer. They really have questions to answer. So thank you very much, Mr. Ikenga. Let me quickly bring Mr. Henry Shield, then I will go to the other Mazi Henry. Henry, are you free to speak now?
Hello?
All right.
Hello?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Henry. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. And Ikenga, my brother, thank you. Chukunna Gozuege. You will not understand the effect of what you've done with that press conference you had yesterday. You have brought to the fore a key, in fact, a critical component of the electoral process that has been compromised by people we need to find now. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Mindset, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You're
No,
audible. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so the first thing that I will say is which staff of INEC has been compromised. We need to start narrowing these offenses down to individuals, because when you, in one breath, we have an INEC that has stained the electoral register. Okay, in another breath, in the same press release you made, there's a call for. Can you guys just give me 1 minute, please? In the same breath, there's a call, according to you, for the INEC chairman to be removed. So what that means is there's an exoneration of complicity on the part of the INEC chairman. If they are seeking to remove him, that means he may not have a hand in this. So if he does not have a hand in this, who is that individual? We need to narrow this down. Who is the electoral officer for that ward? Who is the person in charge of registering? You understand what I'm saying? We need to start publicly. Okay? I've gotten so many requests in my DM. We should have a protest. We should go to INEC office and shut down, blah, blah, blah. The only protest I will attend, and I told you already this when we had our October 1st protest in 2020, the only protest that I, Henry Shield, and my people will come out for is a protest where we are asked to bring our mat, our stove, our pot. We will stay at that spot no matter how many water canister they shoot, no matter how many what do you call this one now? What do you call this thing they shoot up? Tear gas they release. It's their business. When Nigerians are ready to tell the APC that enough is enough, me and Rishud, I will be at the forefront. But all these protests of we'll go there today After 30 minutes, everybody is gone. We just come here to come and show what kind of phone we are using or what kind of sneakers we have. Those childish and silly protests are not my thing anymore. I've done enough protests under Buhari that some of us are supposed to retire. But this government keeps going down the gutters. So they keep bringing us back to the street. So I am ready. If you want us to shut down INEC legitimately, democratically, we will go. We will go. We will mobilize Nigerians. Mobilization is the least of the issue. We will mobilize thousands of Nigerians. We will go to the front of INEC office with our mat.
Sorry, I tell you've lost Henry.
Can you hear me?
Sorry, we lost you for a minute, but you're back now. Go ahead.
I'm not audible anymore. Okay, so
we can hear you, but you keep cutting off.
I was saying, right? I don't know. Mindset, I'm tired. I've changed all networks. So if you're not hearing me anymore, maybe I will just be writing my contribution and be sending in. So like I was saying,
we are hearing you.
Okay, like I was saying, all right. What Ikenga has exposed is enough to cause a national outrage. It is enough that by this night, national commissioners in that commission would be resigning. You are talking about disenfranchising Nigerians. You are talking about criminally uploading fake identities into the system. It's a treasonable offense, because what you're saying is you are taking away the power of the Nigerian voters to elect their own leaders. You are taking it away, and you are arrogating such powers to yourself to determine for Nigerians who will be their leader for another 4 years. That is not just criminal. It is a treasonable offense. If it is possible, it's not enough to write petition to Mahmoud. It's not enough to go and grant press release and go on TV and see. We've done all that. We need to go to INEC office. Number one, it's not the one. The last protest that I led to INEC office, they sent one police officer and one commissioner or director. Mahmoud must come out to talk to Nigerians. In fact, there should be a system to find out whose, like Ugochinyere said, whose code was used to upload these fake, satanic, and provocative identities into the system. You are not dealing with, I tell all the opposition, when I see people who are saying, oh, I'm obedient, I'm articulated, I just laugh at you. You people think Jonathan is the one in Aso Rock. You people think that is the gentleman in Aso Rock. These guys understand that they have messed up the country. They know that Nigerians are tired. They know Nigerians are angry. So if they know that with beavers, rigging might be minimized, they will try to subvert that's the integrity of that same system. Okay? So there should be punishment. It's not, until there is punishment, we are not making any progress. Who is talking again?
I think it's Mr. John, and Mr. John C. Account. Please, can you kindly mute your mic? I've muted your mic 3 times. Please, just allow the speaker to speak, then I will bring you up.
That's number one. That's number one, is finding out, bringing out the person, the criminal, the thief who actually did this. That's number one. Number two is, Ikenga, is it possible to do another cleanup of the electoral register because of the time constraint? We still have about 6 months to the election or thereabout. We have enough time to still clean up and restore the sanctity of the electoral register. It's not just about your own state, Imo State, okay? We also know that there was a time I saw on Twitter that someone saw INEC registration unit outside of the country in one of these West Africa, in one of these African countries. The moment there were issues raised about the nominees for national commissionership under this government, I knew that the election was almost half gone. The sanctity of the electoral process has been eroded by a government that will shamelessly nominate members of his own political party to join and become national commissioners, or even become any senior official in the commission.
So is it possible? Do we have enough time, Ikenga? Do we have enough time between now and say December to clean up, to do another cleanup of the register? If we don't, what is the alternative? Because any protest to INEC now, it is for them to bring out the culprit and punish. Now, going further, how to ensure that this coming election, because a lot is depending on this 2023 election, this coming election, how do we ensure that, like I said, the integrity of the electoral register? How do we ensure that somebody from Chad, somebody from Benin Republic, from Togo, is not coming to vote as a Nigerian? How do we ensure? Because this is beyond INEC. The people that they are nominated are people, members of their parties and the rest. Is it possible to have like a council, just the way we have the Council of State that brings up former heads of state and the rest? Is it possible to have something like that where all political parties maybe try? What can we do? Do we need to bring EFCC into this? Do we need to bring the DSS into this? What can we do? Do we need to bring on the European Union, all these our foreign partners? Who can we trust? Who can we trust to give us an electoral register that actually speaks to the desire of Nigerians, to the truth, not these ones that, because if you don't know the level of criminality that your expose has brought to the fore, the level of criminality that has been exposed by your revelation, I will tell you, if the governor is involved in it, he will go to jail. That's Governor Hope Uzodinma. If he is involved in it, he will go to jail. Number one, we will start first of all with the visa ban for every member of his family. Every member of his family. Anyone who wants to subvert the will of Nigerians in 2023 should pay dearly for it. You cannot, and I say this clearly, you cannot play with the destiny of this country for 7.5 years. And when it is time for Nigerian people to give you either pass mark or fail, you now decide that your will must supersede their decision. Listen, the moment you take away the power of the citizens to elect their leaders, you turn them into animals. You turn them into dogs. Come, bingo, come, go and carry this. And that is all. We must restore power back to our voters' cards. We must be able to tell the APC, you have messed up in the last 7.5 years. The same way they told Jonathan and the PDP in 2015 that, oh, you are too corrupt, you cannot do this, and he was affected. There should be nobody in this government, in the political party called APC, that should have that right to superimpose their own decision on the will of the Nigerian people. We must not accept it. So I am calling this, also using this platform. Myself, let me round up. Also using this platform, Ikenga, we are friends, so we will talk outside of this place. I am also using this platform to call on every Nigerian who is concerned about the future of this country. When a date is announced for the shutting down of INEC, come out. Please come out. If not for yourself, if you feel you are too old, you have seen it all, for the sake of your children. You cannot live in a country where bandits are going to people's private houses and kidnapping them. We cannot live in a country where several months after citizens were kidnapped inside a train, these kidnappers are called terrorists, are still collecting money. They are still collecting ransoms. We cannot live in a country where we no longer ask the president to protect us. We are now fighting how to protect ourselves, developing vigilante groups in every community. We cannot live in a country where we can no longer ply our roads to travel. In my village, there is no police station anymore. They have taken over the police station in my community. We cannot live in a country where, when I want to talk to you, mindset, when I want to talk to Alhaji Umar, when I want to talk to Ikenga, I can only talk to you via WhatsApp, because this government that is scared of his own shadows has decided to be listening on the cause of citizens. We cannot live in a country where democracy is out of the way. We must restore democracy to Nigeria, where citizens have the right to protest, evil policies and anti-people policies of a government, not the ones where you go out and they are shooting at us. So whatever the APC wants to do, let them do. This election must hold. Buhari must hand over on May 29, 2023, and by God's grace, a new government that understands what democracy means will come in, where you will not have people locked up for over 1 year because they protested at the Lekki toll gate, because they were involved in NSAS. So, Ikenga, if it is not too late, what can we do? But for the individuals that did this, that committed these treasonable offenses, please, we need to march to INEC to bring out those individuals and hand them over to the security agencies. And we also monitor the security agencies to ensure that these individuals perish in jail for seeking to undermine the will of the Nigerian people. They perish in jail. Their account, in fact, there's a whole lot to be done. I will just end there. I think I've taken more than 10 minutes. Thank you so much, Mindset. And once again, Ikenga Ugochinyere, God will bless you. Okay? God Almighty will bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shade. I think what you asked, yes, there's still time. Under, I think, Section 19(1) of the new Electoral Act, the publication, the first publication which they did is under CVR. And once you make that first publication, which is in 774 LUGS, claims and objections are raised. And then what they are doing now is automated biometric identification system, the ABIS, to weed out all those double registration and all those ineligible registrants. So once that are done, the next comprehensive publication is that they're going to bring the new registration that came out from the CVR and merge it with the other 84 million they had before, run the ABIS again, and then now publish this one in the 8,809 wards in the country, as well as the 774 local government areas at the same time, as envisaged by that Section 19 of the Electoral Act. So now that they say they are doing the cleaning process, we'll wait for the cleaning process, which will be completed. There is a constitutional time frame for the Commission to publish the comprehensive register. So once they do the publication of the comprehensive register in all the 8,809 wards, the citizens will be encouraged to go and check to be sure that what was published is a clean electoral register that doesn't contain those names that the people have raised concerns about.
All right, thank you very much, Ikenga. So let's quickly go to Mazi Henry. Mazi Henry, quickly, so I can bring other speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mindset. Good evening. Mr. Henry has just, in fact, he just took away the words from my mouth. Mr. Ikenga, I just want to thank you so much. In fact, may God bless you. May God protect you. Because we know now that some people might not be very happy with you. But I believe that if we have people like you in places like in states like Ekiti or Osun, probably we'll be talking about the will of the people now. So I want to thank you so much for everything that you were able to do. And I want to say this: if the ruling party have done well, if they know in their heart that they have performed well, there's no need of appointing APC members to control INEC, because I believe now that it's the ruling party that controls the INEC, and it's not right for our democracy. So please, I really, I want to know how we can move forward, because I believe that if we go through courts, the media is also compromised. Now, how do we move forward? We have to protest, hit the INEC, demand for accountability from them. And in that way, maybe we might move forward. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. May God bless you, my brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so Stephen, please go ahead with your question. Sorry, Steve, go ahead with your question.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mindset. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. I wanted to ask a question, but so many contributions before me, most people have, but I made several observations, very few observations that I wanted to talk about in a very, very, very briefly. The first one is to thank Ikenga for his vigilance. I will call it vigilance, because if we had all taken our eyes off the ball the way it is today, we would never have gotten information about what is currently going on in Imo State. And like Ikenga said, possibly also going on in several other states all across Nigeria. I want to use this opportunity to remind us, all of us, because I know that on this space, there are PDP people, there are APC, there are even Labour Party. We must all see it as a responsibility, because vigilance is the price we pay for democracy. We want a country where everybody will be able to express their opinion, where your vote will count, where your choices will be respected and all of that. It is something that every human wants, where they can speak and be respected. But if you don't pay attention to the process, those who are on top, who want to perpetually remain on top, irrespective of their dismal performance, will do anything to remain on top. This occurrence, I will not really say that INEC has been compromised from top to bottom. I won't really say that, because from what Ikenga said, it is possible that there are people, that some top members of the INEC are not even aware of what is going on. So we'll give room for that benefit of the doubt. But at the same time, I want to believe that those people who are responsible for what this kind of performance should be punished. I mean, severely punished, so that it will serve as a deterrence to others and remind them that Nigerians have woken up. 2023 is not 2019. It is not 2015. What we have experienced in this country in the last several years has opened the eyes of every Nigerian. And we are well prepared for whatever will happen in 2023, and most especially to take back this country for the people, so that things can change, so that students can go to school uninterrupted. There can be electricity uninterrupted, so that young people in their productive ages can be able to make something of their lives. That's the Nigeria we are all praying for, irrespective of where we come from or religion or whatever. It is a Nigeria that works, and the INEC should not be a stumbling block to that Nigeria we are all looking for. So whatever it will take, like I said, vigilance is the price we will all pay for democracy. Our eyes must be open and must be on the board to make sure that our will, our mandate is not tampered with. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Steve. So we should be rounding up in the next 15 minutes. I mean, quite a number of speakers have, everyone has spoken well. The most important thing I want us to understand that Nigeria belongs to each and every one of us. If Nigeria survive, we will all survive. If Nigeria fell, we will all fail. Now that brings me to my next question to Mr. Ikenga. I don't like rumors. I like to, like what you did. If you have just come out to tell Nigerians that Mr. Hope Uzodinma had 6,000 people in his polling unit in 2019, and there is 45,000 people. People will not take it serious, but you actually went. I don't know how you did it, but you just brought out the evidence, right? That this is what is happening in Omuma, in Imo State. Now, I've just had this rumor, because I do not have that evidence, that quite a number of people are coming in from Cross River, from Cameroon, and when we talk about this thing, one would think that people are not happy with APC, and I will try to remind us that APC, the reason people criticize APC is because APC is the government in power, right? So when someone says this government is not doing good, they are the government in power. You cannot expect someone to criticize Labour Party or a PDP who are not in power. So I just want us to be very clear with that. Now, when we hear things like this, what should we do as citizens when you hear that a number of people who are not Nigerians are coming in from a neighboring country and they all have their PVCs? What should we do?
Well, it's very simple. Like I said, like the last speaker said, and somebody said, eternal vigilance is the price we have to pay. Those polling unit that is around that cross river that shares border with people from Cameroon and Bakassi have indigenes in those polling units, and they know the people that are from those areas. So, like I said before, if there's PDP people there, there's Labour Party people there, there is APC people there. Even now, you can still go and check the voters register of those polling units around the border towns of Cameroon and check those people in those. They know people who, every family unit in every polling, like in my own polling unit, it's like Omona, kindred. I know everybody in the list. If there's anybody that is not in that list that is not from our kindred, I know. If you are living in our kindred, like somebody from another part of the country living there, we also know. So people can also run a check. Like when I started, we have to run a check even on my own playing it. There are people, the names that we saw, they will have to ask our neighbors. They identified these are Ebony people who are living here. So if people can just for once take this, the problem is that most people don't even have time to look at the voter register. So those people there don't care. That's why those people can come in during the election and cast their vote. But if we check them, we can know. And also it goes to leadership, like she had said. Immigration, how come these people on election day that they say borders are closed, comes in not just only from that Cameroon side, they also come from Niger's side and Chad side into the northern side. The same way those ones comes from Badagry side, from Benin Republic into Yoruba land to vote. So I think it's a national problem, not just the Cameroon side. They all comes in from Lagos end, they come in from northern side, they come in from the south side and southeastern side. So it's leadership. If the government can really close the border, and if citizens on election day can look out for these people that they know are non-Nigerians who normally comes in to vote, then we can be able to deal with this. But at times people allow them come in because they feel that they are brothers from the other part of the country. So because of that, these things keeps happening. So part of it rests on government and leadership, and also on citizens' vigilance.
All right, thank you. Before I bring on Mr. Tanko, let's quickly allow Gail Land. Gail, good evening. Please quick with your question.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, I want to thank Ikenga. I watched the video, the press conference he gave, and I was really impressed with his findings. But there's a development in regards to the secret lawsuits. I don't know if you're aware of it, Mr. Ikenga. The lawyer whose name appeared on that process has claimed that she has nothing to do with it. So I've been trying to reach you to see if I can give you the details and the lawyer's details. But she was really interested in going public with the whole thing. You know, she said that she was tricked into giving her MBS stamp to a friend who now went and filed that lawsuit. So that's the current development about that secret lawsuit. And something has to be done about that lawsuit because it reminds one of the infamous ABN in 1993 when the election was annulled. You know, this could be their plan B. So that's my take on the whole thing. Thank you.
I think before you joined, even though your voice was angry, but before you joined, this issue came up. And I said clearly that even though we have concerns about the back and forth coming between the two lawyers, but that's not the central message for me. The central message is that I felt the electoral process is under threat. I had evidence that shows that there's plot to compromise this electoral process vis-a-vis the litigation issues. So what matters is that if the other lawyer is claiming that he gave his seat to his friend, he can handle that with security agencies. But the key thing is that for us to keep our eyes very sharp, monitor what happens in that federal high court from time to time to be sure that nothing sinister happens that will jeopardize the electoral process. So both of them can sort themselves out with security agencies on who filed and who didn't file and who gave permission and who didn't give permission. The point is that these things have been busted. And with experience in Nigeria, once things are busted, allegations will be flying left, right, and center, all aimed at diverting attention at the main issues. Maybe you have not heard in a way, people went on protest today calling me alarmist on the issues that are raised about Omuma, that there is a new polytechnic in Omuma and new students from foreign countries are now in Omuma who did the register. So all sorts of things will be coming up. People want you to remove your eye from the key issue. Have the voter register been compromised? Yes. Who are those behind it? That is what we want justice for, and reassurance that this register is clean and all those who are involved dealt with. Every other issue should be ignored so that we don't lose sight of the fact that there is imminent threat that will need assurance and evidence that it has been dealt with those behind it being dealt with in accordance with the law in a way that everybody will see that justice has been done.
All right, thank you very much. So we should be rounding up in the next 10 minutes. Mr. Tanko, you're raising your hand real quickly so we can round up.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, I think before now, Dr. Dasuke has raised a very important issue. You know, as far as I'm concerned, this whole issue is we're just raising a kind of a false alarm because this is not the final register that is going to be used, for the election. It is the process. And usually whenever you are collecting, you're collecting data that is as large as this, definitely there are a lot of glitches, there are a lot of errors. So, and the INEC is trying as much as possible to make sure that the errors and all the the what they call it, the multiple registration has been is being cleaned up. And Ikenga now has already he has also said that the cleanup, this is the first cleanup. That means there's another subsequent cleanup that's going to come up. So definitely by the end of the day, before the election, we are going to have a comprehensive, a clean and acceptable, register. So, for someone to say, well, because in the previous elections we have 6,000 people in Uzodima's ward, it's not an electoral unit, it's a ward having 6,000, and now we are having 40-something thousand. That's possible. We have wards in Nigeria that have more than 100,000, electorate. We have. So for a ward to have 40,000, it's not something that we can say because some people are being, injected into research. They might be, real people, because we understand that this time around there are a lot of drive, for people to come in and register. A lot of people came in. This is the first time that we're having this large number of people, participating in the election. Over 80 million so far have been registered. So it's possible to have, if you can check other wards across the country, you observe that each ward has a lot of ward increase in the voters register. So this is normal. People are coming here saying that APC, that, APC, this, APC, that. There are a lot of APC members in the INEC. Abel Gobadi, I was here the member of the PDP. What do you call it? EU. Professor EU was he not? In fact, he even contested for governorship in Imo on the PDP. So this is not the first time that you have other people that are separated to a political party being part of the INEC. So, but for people to use that as an excuse to discredit INEC for all they have been doing, is very mischievous. I don't think that is going to go well for us.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Tank. Always a pleasure to have you. You see, the good thing about this platform, we allow everyone to share their opinion. Mr. Tanko is an APC member, so you can hear from his voice that he's trying to defend his party, and then we do respect your opinion. Let's quickly allow, Mr. Henry, just a minute. Let's quickly allow the 99% upright. Please, sir, we don't have enough time. So if you can quickly ask your question to Ikenga, then we can round up.
Yeah, thank you, Mindset. Thank you, my co-panelist. Thank you, everyone in the house. Ikenga, thank you for the expose. Thank you for bringing this thing to the limelight. And Nigerians now we know better. In Nigeria, once something is in the public glare, there's a tendency that they will track back. But let me bring this to your attention. I want to take exceptions to what Mr. Tanko just said now. But let me first ask Mr. Ikenga, bring this to Mr. Ikenga's attention, that we discovered that right now it's even worse than what you just released. A lot, it's even worse. What you just released to the public yesterday, we've discovered worse situations than that right now. Because right now in Nigeria, do you know that some people have their PVC with them already, but their names and their data is already existing in the voter register right now with another face, but the same details. Do you know? So there is tendency that two persons will be voting with the same name, but different face. You understand? In this coming 2023 election, there is a particular case of a girl right now. She have a PVC, but her face and her name and someone else's face is on the voters register right now. So that is what we are looking at now in this coming 2023 election. INEC is compromised. I stand to be corrected. INEC is compromised. So I want Nigerians to look at that critically. Whatever they are doing, we have to look at that. All the parties that are contesting for this 2023 election must call INEC to order. Every copy, not just the soft copy, but hard copy of all the names, even if it is 10,000 pages of publication, all parties should have access to it. So we can do, even if it will take us months to cross-check, let's cross-check. And the names that the people that INEC say that they are cleaning up the register, that they are removing some names, they should show us proof. The reasons why they are removing those names, because we know some of those names they are removing, they are not supposed to be removed. They are not supposed to be removed because INEC, from this particular expose of Ikenga Ugochinyere, it shows that INEC is compromised. They should show us proof. Let's confirm that those names that they are removing, they have, yes, if they have real reason removing those names. So that's just what I want to reach out to. And the exception I'm taking to Mr. Tanko is that, one, I stand to be corrected that INEC is compromised right now, because by our own digging, what we discovered, most of this information, those Ugochinyere mentioned, most of them they were gotten from our NIN registration. They were gotten from the NIN portal, the NIMS portal. That's why they harvested most of those names, those information. That's why they harvested most of them. I stand to be corrected. You understand? Until the minister and the director of NIMS comes to correct this and prove to Nigerians that yes, these things were compromised. But until then, I still stand on what my claim is. Thank you, Mindset.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to have you. I wish you would have joined earlier on, so it would have given you enough time to speak. I can see so many people raising their hand. Mr. Ikenga, do you want to respond to 99% of press?
So I agree partly with what he said, but I think it's important also what he said about we looking at the data is the same thing I've been saying. When I was national chairman of a political party, before once the final publication is made in accordance with that section 19, party chairmen are called and given a flash and see those big storage device that contains the 84 million voter. But guess what? We'll end up not even looking at it or printing it to give to our state chapters for them to look at. So most times, these data will be given to political party chairmen, but it looks like that is not even their priority. And I think this time, like the civil society group that met in Abuja demanded that INEC should find a way of publishing it online so that civil society people can also help in verifying. But if it is in terms of giving out that data, when I was national chairman, every election cycle, they give us that flash. But most times, because it's bulky and the resources of printing 84 million voters to review, it's difficult for party chairman. That is how this thing gets to pass our eyes without us noticing it. But for those people that are having two voters card, if it is the same fingerprint with the abyss that are running now, and with this pressure that everybody is piling, it will automatically delete those dual fingerprints from the system.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ikenga. It's actually 10 o'clock now. We did say that this space will only run for 2 hours, but we do have a lot of people raising their hands. I don't know. I will just ask you, do you mind if we'll extend it for another 30 minutes? Do you have the time? If not, we would respect,
you can just do 4. So because I'm supposed to do interview with the BBC and I've been calling, so you can just do 4 before we shut down.
Oh, sorry, we can just do how many minutes, sir?
4 questions, then we can.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
All right, so because
Mindset, please, there's someone that is raising that's requested for Mike here, Okipe. Okipe is one of the legal advisor of one of the political parties in Imo State. I would like us to give him Mike. Thank you.
all right, thank you very much for drawing my attention to that. If you can see him, please give him the mic. But we need to be very quick because Mr. Ikenga have an interview with the BBC. So please, whoever that will speak, I will please kindly allow you to just go straight to your question for 1 minute. So let's quickly go to Mr. Henry Shield. 1 minute, please, sir.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to respond to someone who said earlier that some people, this kind of revelation is us trying to tarnish the image of INEC. I think the level we've gotten to as a nation, there should be a barest minimum of shame that anybody who wants to talk in public should have. We are seeing names of non-Nigerians in our electoral register. We are seeing female faces with male gender registration. We are seeing a compromised electoral register, and somebody is saying we are trying to tarnish the image of INEC. Excuse you, tarnish what image? Where is the image? Please, we are not making it up. I know Ikenga very, very, very well. Like, I know him very, very well. We've had these press conferences before in the past. I know him. For him to come out with this kind of, in fact, what INEC should do is come out and disclaim what Ikenga is doing if they have that guts. So for anybody to come here to come and gaslight people, we are trying to what nonsense image are we talking about?
Okay.
The destiny of our country. Is being threatened, and you're talking about tarnishing. Did we manufacture this thing? Was it not INEC people that put the fake things inside the system? Why are you gaslighting us?
Sorry,
We are not
Henry.
the ones with the problem.
I have to
INEC is the
interject
one with the problem.
because of
Thank you very
Ikenga.
much.
Thank you.
No, mindset. I just needed to correct that, please.
No,
Beautiful
that's fine. That's fine because we
observation,
need.
please.
Yeah, that's fine. I respect that as well. It's just because Mr. Ikenga wants to go. He have an interview. So if we invite him next time, he will he will just answer us as well. So Mr. Umar, please quickly go ahead with your question.
Well, it is more or less like an observation. I'm not happy with some of the comments, received, stating that, the same system where you say if government is accused, you now say what of PDP? For instance, when Obasanjo appointed, he was a political party person. He was not in any political party. He was in his own university and he was appointed. And nobody is even accusing Professor Mahmoud Yakub, whom Buhari appointed as being an APC member. However, if after his tenure, Jega was appointed, he was not a member of any political party, but later on he joined PRP. So if later on they decide to join another, but there is a clear case. Now, a spokesperson of a government, Lauretta Onoche, her name was sent to INEC, and everybody knows she was a spokesperson, media of the government, and they sent her to her name to INEC to be given INEC commissioner. Now, how do you expect that Nigerians will not shout that something is amiss? Now, this type of saying that cleaning, it's not. We are not talking about cleaning register. Cleaning register is different. Who is getting that thing into the register for INEC to be cleaning it up? Is it the ordinary citizens that will go and just get it up? There must be a connivance somewhere, and there are some beneficiaries of that uploading, and those beneficiaries are also part and parcel of the problem, and that is what Mr. Henry is saying, that we have to narrow it down.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Omar. Please, because of time, I have to interject. Quickly, Dr. Dasuki, quickly, please.
No, Dr. Man said, I think I'll just keep quiet because I think Ikenga has answered most of these critics properly. Because, for example, one of the individuals is saying that you have someone with the same name but different picture. You can go to a polling unit and there will be two Saliu the Sugi there. Is he saying that people don't have duplicate names in Nigeria? And then some people also are here ranting and talking about INEC putting fake data there. If they, just like Ikenga has come out to expose and talk about transparency in this process, those individuals that have just spoken, the previous speaker, the other previous speaker that is talking about nonsense, he should also go and do a media discussion and say whatever he wants to say. So you should stop coming here to gaslight people too and say that INEC has been compromised. He's not the only one that has a voice to start ranting and making nonsense statements on this basis.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Mr. Dasuki. We all started in a good way, so we cannot end this basis. Listen, everybody have a right to their own opinion, right? Hence, you have a right. So if he think that the INEC have been compromised, that is his own opinion. You have a right to say they have not been compromised. But what we will not allow, what we will not condone, is people calling each other them. And Mr. Ikenga have to go. So before Mr. Ikenga round up, let's quickly allow Okibe, please, if you can speak in 3 minutes. I know it's not enough. Then we can allow Mr. Ikenga to round up, please. Thank you. Sorry, sir. Okibe, I'm speaking to you. Can you hear me? You're raising your hands. Okay, it appears. Sorry, am I audible? Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, can hear you.
All right, so Okibe is not responding, so we have to leave it at that. So, Mr. Ikenga, your final thoughts before you leave it.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right,
Okay, we are hearing you.
We can hear you. Please go ahead, sir. Thank you.
Okay,
3 minutes, please.
Very quickly, yes, I will spend 3 minutes. I was just saying 3 things are very clear. If you look at the pictures Mr. Ikenga exposed to Nigerians, you will discover that there are pictures that were clearly scanned photographs, downloaded pictures, scanned photographs. You begin to ask the question, after all the voter education, after Nigerians queued in the line to have a slot to get captured in the beavers, how did some INEC staff do some uploading with scanned pictures and downloaded pictures? And 2 things have happened since Ikenga made that revelation. One, our dearly respected Festus Okoye has come on the Channels TV. Then there has been this publication by them. 2 things are involved. They did not express any outrage that these things get into their machines in the first place. INEC must first of all show outrage that some staff, after their voter education on how you must come and you must get captured, even as at the point they were closing, Nigerians were still begging for an opportunity to be captured. They never said there was an opportunity to use scanned pictures or downloaded pictures. So they didn't show any outrage, and they are not showing any outrage. And I must draw this attention. There is this bill that is still on for electoral malpractice bill, election malpractice bill, people who participate in electoral fraud. If INEC cannot rise with quick outrage and come to Imo State and ask those who did this upload with pictures that are not live pictures, what are we then doing? Doing the Electoral Malpractice Act. INEC must first of all show outrage that after the voter education, after Nigerians waited to do it genuinely, some staff of theirs, and if they have digitalized, like we have all seen, why is it that these things get into the system, and why is it that they cannot arrest those people who did it within 24 hours? Thank you, and God bless you.
All right, thank you. So, Mr. Ikenga, you have the mic just to your final. You can respond to then you can your final thoughts.
Thank you, Barrister Ikenga. I think what he has said is the same thing all of us are saying, which is at the end of the day, no matter whatever everybody is saying, these names, did they get into the register? Yes. These pictures, were they uploading to the register? Yes. So apart from cleaning it, which the commission has assured they are doing, the next thing is who gave out that passcode and whose email was used to open that particular device with which either the passport was scanned or with which they uploaded it directly. Because when we arrest that criminal, that idiot, he will be able to tell us which person sent him to do this. And also, he will be able to tell us how they intend to use it on election day, knowing that fingerprint authentication is required on voting day. But this is a clear case of treason because they want to subvert the will of the people. So arresting and exposing those behind this is even more important than cleaning it. We need to know who got this into the register. So I agree very well with Barrister Ikenga. And I want to thank the community here. This is my first time of coming on Twitter space. All I know is Instagram or Facebook or WhatsApp. the groups and all that. But I enjoyed the discussion here, and I can see a lot of respected activists and professionals here. So I enjoyed my stay here, and I pray and hope to be given the opportunity to come back here on other issues. So I'm very grateful, and I will say thank you to Mindset, to everybody here, Bonare, Shared, and all the people I know. I want to thank you all for this great opportunity. Let's keep remaining vigilant, and victory will be ours for the good of our country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ikenga. It's a pleasure. It's our pleasure to have you on Let's Talk with Mindset. This is a very open space. It's a Nigerian space where we discuss anything and everything about Nigeria, how to move Nigeria forward. And
ABC, Nigeria, from top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom.
It's what I say, don't stumble. I'm good water. Everything is not funny. They will play me fun. I play. My neighbor press one.